81,
81.
and
Saeed
we have
is back.
Saeed.
Yes, Saeed.
You should know him by now.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, welcome. So let's get right
welcome.
into it. Tell us what's going on.
Well, it's been over a week now since the explosion. So we have that. People have been trying to recuperate, I guess you could say, since it's pretty devastating, as as everyone knows by now.
I mean,
And yeah, that's like the mentality right now. The mentality now is all the hate on the government is now just like exploded. You know,
at an all-time
it,
high.
yeah, it's pinnacle, honestly, in my opinion. And I feel like things could get a bit more violent. I mean, they already did the third day after the explosion, and there was protests in the downtown and the Martyr Square, and the riot police and the army started shooting tear gas canisters at the protesters, and they used it in excessive force.
Who-
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, who's guiding these people that are shooting the civilians? Aren't these soldiers also? Weren't their houses also blown up with this explosion? This is what I don't get. It's not like the army people shooting at civilians. It's like what? Whose side?
I mean, yeah, but at the end of the day, they have their orders, so
They have to
I guess,
take their orders.
yeah, that's what they've been taught.
From who? Who's ordering them right now? Who's still? Didn't the government step down?
Okay, yeah, okay. There's the government stepped down, but in the army is kind of independent in a sense. Like they have their own general. They're commanding general for the whole army. His
In
name
the
is
army,
Sharrukh.
there's a chain of command, right? It goes kind of like a triangle. Now,
Yeah.
picture with me a triangle, right? But at the top of the triangle, you have the government. So when the government steps down, who the first person that's at the top of this triangle, he's the person that's basically in command of Lebanon until further
Actually,
notice.
not exactly. In Lebanon, the state doesn't have full command over everything the army does, because in the end, the army is not supposed to be on the what's it called,
Capital?
on land. Yeah, it's like it's not supposed to be in the cities and stuff like that. But because Lebanon is in a sense considered still in a state of war, so that's why you see all of these posts, the outposts, and the army is littered all over the country.
A state of war with who? We're in a state of war still in Lebanon. You mean like in a state of emergency, or I don't get how that like means. You like army officers can shoot civilians,
No, that's not the thing. What I meant was the state of war, as in like with Israel, because in reality we have like a ceasefire. We don't have a full-on peace treaty. Like, for example, what's happening in the UAE right now.
Don't fucking trigger me. Don't fucking trigger me. Don't you fucking do that shit. I'm being dead serious. Because I will literally say some stuff that'll put me behind bars. I'm being dead serious. Let's just move past it. Yeah, let's not cross that line. Because that's bullshit. And I don't want to get into it. But I guess, yeah, ever since the 2006 incident, Lebanon is still at war with Israel. It's just a ceasefire, you're saying. So there's no, exchange of bullets or anything like that.
That's why you have the UN in the south. Sorry, in the south.
No worries.
Yeah, and
I've seen them, by the way. I've seen the United Nations
vehicles, right? And all
vehicles
personnel.
In the south. I don't know if you guys did. You see them too? I'm pretty sure you did.
Beirut as well. Like sometimes they come as a convoy to, I guess, resupply or whatever. So you see them sometimes on the what's it called, the highway, stuff like around Beirut, going into Beirut or outside Beirut.
Guys,
it's a common sight.
This morning I was looking at like footage from Hong Kong. Like they're going through the exact same thing, or like we're not exact, but like the police are tear gassing civilians and they're fighting with people. And then I see the same in Belarus, and then I see in Lebanon and Yemen. I see it like it's going everywhere around the world. I mean, even here in the United States, like a couple of weeks ago. They were what's
Yeah,
why
that was
is
the.
why is everyone pissed off from all the governments? All Mhm.
I think people are finally waking up.
To
I mean,
Just
what do you expect when you have basically stupid people who have no idea what they're doing or just thinking for personal gain in
Mhm.
office? I mean, eventually the people are going to realize that these people who are supposedly representing them are not doing a good job. And when you have someone who's supposed to be providing you with the basic benefits of what the government is supposed to do.
safety, security, basically. That's it. That's all I kind of need, right? Yeah, just like not
I mean,
being,
that's one
blown
of
up.
the things, yeah.
Hmm.
That's one of the things, other than whatever healthcare
Hmm.
and the unemployment benefits or whatever that we need. Nothing is provided. Nothing is being
Hmm.
provided, and this has been a constant pattern for the past 30 years.
Hmm.
I mean, people are stupid enough to still support these political parties here in Lebanon. I'm
Hmm.
speaking. Uh, so like,
it's very
I,
hard to wash away the brainwashing that these people have been through. And I say this fully: these people have been brainwashed. Full
yeah, that's
stop.
very true.
You know, so
If
it's hard to
if we
remove the effects of 30, 40, 50 years of brainwashing, and it's going from generation to generation to generation, to suddenly tell them, yo, all your parents and their beliefs are pretty much bullshit and you got to change. So that's why I say what Lebanon needs right now are fresh faces in the parliament, in the controlling office, and the higher up positions, and we need fresh new ideas and fresh faces. I don't need a 60, 70-year old to run the country.
Hmm.
I need 30, 40,
Hmm.
maximum 40, 50,
Hmm.
maximum. But somewhere around the late 20s, early 30s, fresh people. This is what Lebanon needs. Fresh
And
ideas,
yeah, fresh
fresh
ideas,
people.
and also like going on the point side, you said. I think this is like we kind of have I don't know, an expectation the government should do something for us, but in reality, no government has ever done anything
It's
good
true.
for its people.
John
So
F.
it's
Kennedy.
hmm
John F. Kennedy once said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but
hmm
what you can do for your country."
no, yeah, and in that sense, like I think the government, I mean, this is like very they should provide you with safety, security,
Yeah,
make sure not blown up,
the
like maybe
basics.
the basics. I'm not sure about like healthcare or like that's what we have. One of my biggest fears in Lebanon right now is I see all these people. I don't know, they're just getting like
Riled up.
riled up and a lot of hate and a lot of anger, and
You
I
know why?
understand it and I believe it.
The biggest
Hmm.
mistake to happen in Lebanese government is you let religion mix with
Hmm.
politics. The biggest
Hmm.
mistakes that you've done
Hmm.
is you let
okay,
religion.
but to talk about that, you have to go back to when Lebanon was first formed, and no, I'm serious. You can
Yeah,
blame
no,
the
no,
British and
it's
Hmm.
this is not something that was actually created by us. This was actually something made
You mean
by
like the French
uh,
when?
the French.
Uh-huh.
the Sykes-Picot Agreement that was made by one British guy, one French guy, and they just divided the Middle East area, specifically Lebanon as well, into whatever divisions geographically, and then they placed all of these different sects into one area. So that's what. So for example, in Lebanon, we have like four, five, six, whatever, how many sects, and when the country was formed, was given independence in the 40s after World War II, they were given a constitution that basically told them that the constitution was formed on the basis that it was a sectarian division. So this was not something that happened 30 years ago.
Mm.
This is something
And
that's
who
happened.
made who made it? Was it the French that made the constitution, or were it like Lebanese people that gathered up?
Is is originally a mixture of like
Hmm.
a small part from the Ottoman Empire and
Hmm.
based on the old French constitution. It hasn't been changed. It's been amended a few times, and then they included the Taif Agreement in 1990, around that time, after the
Okay,
Civil War. So that's
So this
Need
is
to change.
hundreds of years
Old
ago,
laws need to
50s of
change.
years ago.
Exactly. Like old broken laws.
Can is it really that hard for the country to say, okay, let's start a new political system, right? Where religion and self beliefs have nothing to do with how we govern people's lives.
Hmm. I don't think it's too difficult. You
is it
just need
hard?
some
Okay,
people to do it. It's just like, right?
if you want to ask it that way, then let me say another question. Is it that hard to end racism?
Um, it's not like race. Like racism is a mentality of the people. We're talking about the mentality of the leaders of the country, right? There are people. You're always gonna
That's
have
yeah,
racist people. You're always
No,
gonna
no,
have,
no,
but the leaders amongst our people, they used to be
Ali.
aristocrat, like people who were trained and smart and like with
yeah,
philosophy and want to push the country forward. Those are leaders. And now what we have are like dogs and sheeps.
pretty much, yeah.
And then normal people
You,
that have nothing, they just want to live normal lives. That's it. And I feel like that's the majority of people. And I think if someone tomorrow we're like, hey, like some like young fresh face, we're like, hey, this is my plan, all fleshed out. This I want to go here, do this, fix these problems. I feel like
They
everyone
shut them down.
unanimously would who'd shut them down?
Then shut them down. The
Who
old
shut them
heads
down?
that are running the country now. You think it's the first time we have people with fresh ideas and great ideas to push Lebanon forward? Why do you think they shut them down? What do you
Wait,
think their excuse
who?
is?
Who are you talking about that's been shut down?
What do you mean who?
people.
There are a bunch, dude.
Like who? I don't know.
All right, remember when we had that food blessed lady who came
Sure.
in and remember what she
Maya,
said?
of course, yeah.
Yeah, she ran, but the old heads, they shut her down. How? If they don't get her by her religion and her sects, they'll get her by her family name. If they don't do that, they get her by anything, just to keep her where she is and them where they are.
Okay, I want to comment on this. You guys are focusing on the political leaders, but I disagree. It's not the political leaders. I mean,
It's two
there's a
sides.
culture behind it. There's a culture
Yeah.
that was formed since the creation of Lebanon, and this culture has basically just been passing on from political leader to political leader, and this mentality of the division, you could clearly see it from the civil war. People thought it ended after that, but no, it's still there. The people who think the same way from the times of the civil war, where for example, the Muslims versus Christians and then Sunnah versus Shia, this still exists in Lebanon. No matter how much people will tell you it doesn't, it still does, because you will always feel different when you're not with the same religious sect in this country. If you're not the same religious sect as yourself, you just feel like people will not accept you the same way, just because you're not the same religion. And this is because of the culture that has been built up by these political parties and this this culture this culture mentality where you just have like people against each other. It's like it's always like this, us against them, or why us? Why aren't you talking about them? All kinds of things. So, for example,
I just
I have
think,
an example.
yeah, until you think, but I just think
Yeah,
that,
yes, yeah.
like that's just how people are taught, and they just need a new, just need a new way to look at things.
Lebanon needs a reform. Lebanon, not the Lebanese government. Lebanon as a whole, from
And it's
south to
going through it. I
north,
mean, this is as much of a reform as you can go through right now, right?
it needs a reform and it needs, I don't want to say education because you guys are very educated in Lebanon.
It does need it. It does need education,
But
but
the
education
type of education, which type? I mean, education in
social standard.
social status education. Exactly. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Lebanon is in desperate need of an education and a reform. Social education, let me say. In desperate need.
How do you do social education, Ali?
Okay, well, you teach them the way we were taught. Let's not forget, Arabs are very prone to war. We like fighting. It's just
People love
naturally
fighting.
in
It's
our
not
blood,
just human nature, right?
Yeah, but Arabs like to take on their human natures more than their
Sure,
logic. Let's be
sure.
honest.
Okay, no, I'm from
Okay.
yeah.
Here we've been taught that In the end of the day, any religion you follow is between the creator and the created. You have nothing to do with what I believe. I have nothing to do with what you believe, right? When we moved it to parliament and they tried doing the same shit where, oh, I'm this, you're this, vote for me, the government shut that shit down
Yikes.
so fast,
Mhm.
it was never even a thing. So now, when we even vote in our parliaments, religion has nothing to do with it.
I'm talking about in
You
Kuwait.
guys,
Mhm.
in Kuwait, yes,
Mhm.
religion is something to do with yourself. When you say that you believe in something, you don't say we believe, you say I believe in God.
Mhm.
Not we believe in God. It's
Mhm.
I,
Mhm.
you, yourself. So why bring your religious ideologies and force it on people? You don't have to. If you want to live with different people, okay, with people that believe in different ideologies, people that have different mentalities, people that have different everything, you need to learn to put your differences aside,
Mhm.
find common ground, and plan to move forward.
Mhm.
It's simple. It's literally I just came up with that.
Mhm.
I'm not a politician. I'm not a politician.
Uh-huh.
I don't study political science or any of that
Mhm.
stuff. I'm not in the government. I'm literally a barely making it medical student, and I just came up with that plan. So why can't the politicians, these old heads, just sit down and think, okay, well, let's put all our differences aside. How can we move forward? They're not thinking, how can we move forward?
Yeah,
They're
that's not
thinking,
gonna
how
happen.
can we get richer?
The
How
old
can we
heads.
keep our
They're, how can we
position?
survive at this point? It's just like, how can we not get like guillotined?
Lynched? I hope, honestly, and I am so against violence, but I hope they hang them in the middle of Martyr Square. I hope. Every single one of them. For how much they fucked over Lebanon. I hope. Because
But
now it's
one thing you're forgetting, Ali, is that they're not only working for becoming richer. They also have a political agenda that is being pushed by by external forces. For example, in the south, you have Iran that's supporting them, and then
exactly.
obviously the Shia. That's what I'm talking about. And then there's the Christians who are being supported by the Western forces, like the U.S. and France, Britain, whatever. I mean, when the French president came to Lebanon,
Oh my God.
I have nothing against that, but honestly, that's just a political move. That's a
I
major
have
political.
everything against that.
Wait, what do you
I,
have against it, dude? I
Dude,
don't know.
I
what do you
also
want?
I
What do you
agree.
want? What you wanna help Lebanon? Help. But you don't have to go out on the streets and act like, oh my God, I care for you people. You guys, politics is the most bitter form of war there is.
Mhm.
You want to help? Ala aini wa rasi. Kuwait wanted to help. Did Sheikh Sabah walk in the streets of Lebanon? No, he just sent you guys the essential shit that you need. That's it.
But I think like what he did was bring attention to the.
Attention to, you can bring
Everyone
attention
in
in many
France
ways.
knows that their president or prime minister walked down amongst the people of Lebanon. That's the thing. So I think that's
Okay,
for that, and all those pictures I've seen. Everyone's been sharing those pictures. Everyone's seen.
Ali, if that one
There was
fifth of a Hiroshima explosion did not bring attention, I don't know what's gonna bring attention to Lebanon.
also, why didn't he do the same when there was protests and riots going on in France? I mean, what's he doing in Lebanon when he doesn't even know what's going on in his country?
Your voice is very unclear,
Yeah,
by the
it's
way.
unclear. Put your mic closer to your mouth. Yeah.
Just push this part of your headphones forward, just so that the mic is. There we go. Try now.
So what I was saying is, why is he putting himself and propping himself as like this big hero, this big savior here in Lebanon when there was protests and riots going on in France not too long ago before Corona?
Where was
I mean,
he?
exactly. Why didn't he walk on the streets there? Why didn't he go hug his people? What's
Mhm.
he doing here in Lebanon? I mean, I'm not being paranoid or whatever, but like
No, but it's.
I have a right to question his political agenda here.
Sure. No, I
Yeah.
mean, of course, but at the same time, it's like
The U.S. and, and other Western forces who don't actually like us that much.
I don't know,
say
dude.
they like.
France. I don't know. France. I feel like France and Lebanon have ties. No, do they not?
I mean,
Like
you guys are
officially?
pretty much under their upper.
Yeah.
What is it called?
We
I
were the
forgot the word.
French mandate.
You know, it's not just that you were under their oppression as well, weren't you? What
Yeah,
didn't
we were a
Lebanon go through
colony, a
this
French colony.
huge oppression by the French government at one point in time in history?
Yeah, I don't call that a tie. I call that what's it called? What's the word when you invade someone's land and take all his resources and whatnot?
Occupation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
Occupation.
that's what I would call it.
Mhm,
Yeah, exactly. That's what I would call it. I
mhm.
mean, that's how
Wh-
I. That's how I feel. That's what our tie with France is.
Sure, but like
Dude,
the
but there are people now. I'm like looking, I'm seeing in Instagram, no Instagram, sorry, in Twitter, because that's where I get most of my news sources. Uh, there's a lot of like, there's not a lot of people. There's like half of them want to go back to being under French colony for the next 10 years, just to stabilize the country, which is retarded. And the other half are like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? We just got out of their grasp. Why are you putting us back in? So what's the deal with that?
yeah, I think Lebanon should just be more independent. That's it. It's like I we're trying to like become westernized. We're not France. We're Arabia. We're Lebanon. You know, just
We're
like
actually
Exactly.
yeah. Mhm.
divided. We're divided in the middle, if anything. So you could divide it between people who want to go towards the west and people who want to go to Iran. It's, and obviously these two hate each other. So it's like
Yeah, it's true. That's a good way to put Lebanon because Lebanon is kind of that like it's trying to westernize and become like more Americanish, but at the same time, like we're very like progressive in like the Middle East, but at the same time, there are a lot of people that are very traditional and just want us to be more. That's the
conservative,
but
yeah.
yeah, but there is a balance in between, which is Lebanon has a rich culture. You can. It's very easy to say I'm Lebanese. It's not. You know. It's
Yeah, but at
like.
the same time, they have to learn how to accept each other,
Mhm,
like the conservatives and the
mhm,
progressive people.
mhm. But that's like in every single country. Every
Yeah,
single
that's true.
country
Yeah,
has that push and pull, and you just got to find a good balance.
Okay, well, it's hard to find a good balance, especially
Sure.
when you've been
included.
trying to look for 50 or 60 years, right?
Mhm.
Here's how the first thing. Okay, they came to me. They're like, Hailey, you are now responsible for Lebanon. Do that as you please. I would remove the Irani, United States, or any of these proxy wars that's been happening, right? I'll see who's supporting these people. Okay, I cut ties with them. Cut ties with them. They're not allowed to bring anything into the country, even if it's food supply and my people are starving. They're not allowed to bring shit. Why? Because there's 158 countries in this world. What do I need from three? That's the
Mhm.
first thing I do. Second thing I do is a government reform, a full government reform. I'd remove every person from the accountant and the little kid typing the shit that's being said all the way to the prime minister. I'd
Mhm.
remove them all and I'd find new, more suitable, younger people
Mhm.
to hold that position, right?
Yeah. No.
Third thing I
Mhm.
do is I would enforce education in every school from primary to high school on social. I forgot the word. Just social education. Let's
What does
call it
social
that.
education mean, though?
I'll tell you what I mean by that. I basically mean how to deal with people that disagree with you, how to hold a healthy debate or conversation,
I don't.
how to be
Yeah.
respectful to the other side.
Sure. I don't think that's something you can like teach in a. I mean, you can teach it like in like whatever debate kind of thing. But I feel like
Mhm.
once you look at your leaders and you see that they're fighting with each other all the time,
Why
then
did
you're
I
just gonna
make that
copy
step
those people.
three?
Yeah.
Why
But
did I
if
make that step three though?
that's true,
Because
no,
step two is
no, I
what?
understand.
Is
But
to
it's
remove everyone from the prime minister
if the
up to the
leaders
guy
were
who sweeps
talking,
the floor.
if the leaders were talking in a way that's very respectable, the people will just follow their leaders and just become more civil. That's what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Like Lebanon needs new leadership. You know,
Exactly.
because people just
So
copy
that's
their their leaders. That's the thing. Yeah.
Mo, if you think about it, the leaders they're fighting for who? They're not fighting for Lebanon. They're fighting for whoever the fuck is putting money in their pockets.
Hmm.
That's who. So that's all I have to say on this opinion. To be on this matter,
Saeed,
to be honest.
this past week, what have you been up to?
Well, the first couple of days I was going down with my sister, and we were volunteering to help clean up the glass, the rubble, homes.
Like, what did
We
you
went.
and like your sister got like a broom or something? Like, how did what you guys like? How did it happen?
So first of all, we bought those construction type gloves so that we don't cut our hands on the glass when we're carrying
Hmm.
the rubble. And basically, yeah, we got some brooms as well to sweep out all of the glass, the shattered glass. We would go to people's homes, uh, clean up, remove broken doors,
You
broken frames. I mean, yeah, the
and just
houses
like
at that.
open, like everyone's been going into everyone's houses and cleaning up.
So I went to one person's house at one point. This was
Sorry about that.
this was like on day 5 or day 6 when I joined the Red Cross again,
Hmm.
and their door during the explosion flew from its place and slammed onto their neighbor's wall, like the apartment in front of them. And in place, they had a cardboard or like some some
Hmm.
cardboard looking type of material, which they tied by a rope onto the frame.
That's the
That's
door.
all they had.
Hmm.
That's the door. That's the door.
Hmm.
Their salon is their living room. No, sorry, is it called the living room?
Yeah.
I say something. So, uh, was completely trashed. You can't even go inside. So you only have access to the kitchen and one of the bedrooms. We have 2 bedrooms. One of them was trashed. So yeah,
Okay.
there were other people who like their homes obviously completely
Is
destroyed.
is it
Buildings
more
fell
clean
apart.
now? Like, has it been like mostly swept up, or is there still a lot of work to do in Beirut?
No, no, no. Most of the cleaning is done. Now it's basically onto the assessment phase where they want to see which the homes, what do they need,
Hmm.
uh, what kind of destruction has occurred in their apartments or homes
And
or
how to fix them.
whatever.
Hmm.
Like, and yeah, what kind of supplies they need. Maybe they need food as well, or
Hmm.
medicine, or medical care in case of injuries, and that kind of thing. Like stage 3 would be reconstruction and rebuilding, basically. But there's a lot of things that have been going on lately. I mean, first of all, the government resigned one day before the one of the investigation, which would have blamed the government for this failure, which is honestly not the right thing, since the the existence of the ammonium nitrate in the port was was because of previous government, not because of
The current one. Hmm.
current have acted. But at the same time, the
They
government
knew about
is a
it.
type of
Hassan
puppet.
Diab
They
knew about it. Hmm.
Hassan Diab knew about it, and so did the president,
Hmm.
Michel Aoun. But the thing is,
So
Hassan
why
Diab
didn't they do anything?
is a puppet. Hassan Diab is a puppet, man. He's not an actual.
Okay, so it's their fault, regardless.
Yeah,
It's
it's
their
their
fault
fault,
then.
regardless. They knew about it. They knew about it. It's not like they didn't
You
know about it.
know, you have 2,000, 3,000 tons of explosion all put in one little room at a port in the middle of Beirut. Adi, adi, leave it.
I'm not
It's fine.
I'm not clearing him of his guilt. But the thing is, there are other people that should be getting the blame.
Hmm.
But most of the fingers are being pointed at Hassan Diab, which is wrong because he's not the only one who's at fault. I mean, even if he wasn't if someone else was in his place, they still wouldn't be allowed to do anything, even at their position as the prime minister, because of the more stronger political parties who have control over the country. And if you want me to be more precise, I would say Hezbollah and their allies.
They're the ones who
And
put. They're the ones who put the ammonium nitrate. Do we know about like why it's there, or not really?
there's no direct proof, obviously, that it was them, because people here are very good at clearing their names from the evidence. But yeah. But for example, one of their allies is the Free Patriotic Movement, which are also called the Aouniye, which is the political party of the president and his son-in-law from Basir. So the head of the port, um, I'm not sure if he's the head of the port or the customs, but and he was one of the people who was arrested. So they indirectly blamed him and the customs officer and an ex-customs officer that were in charge, because like it was at his time when the ammonium nitrate came in. But yesterday, I received news that the one who is under the political party of the Awniyeh, I'm sorry, but I know them in Arabic, so it's easier for me in Arabic.
Mhm.
Was his case was taken from the judge that was monitoring it and was given to a judge that's called whose name is Ghada Aoun, who is also a Aouniyeh. I
Yeah,
mean, her
but
family,
that's her. She's just part of the family.
she has the same family name.
Mhm.
I mean, it's in the name, but
It's in the name, dude. Okay, just a bunch of okay.
Basically, he was arrested just like for the sake of arresting someone, and now
okay.
he's getting away scot free.
I told you what Lebanon needs, boys. I don't think we need to go further
Oh
into
wait, no,
honestly.
we all. I
Like,
mean, like it's just that it's like, how's it gonna happen? We all know
I,
what it means.
I I gave you the 3 easy steps, and
I
it's very
understand,
simple.
but like, how are we gonna
But
start
like
step one?
how
Mhm.
you
Well,
start step one by literally removing the people who are in charge and putting fresh new ideas and faces in leadership position.
well, something's already starting, by the way. So, for example, before the government resigned, 4 of the ministers had personally decided to resign because they didn't felt like it was working. And if 7 of the 20 ministers resign, the government just
Collapses.
dissolved by itself. Yeah, it
7 of the
dissolves.
20. So how many are out now?
4 resigned, but then the prime minister just by himself dissolved the government, so he doesn't. Then no one has to resign anymore. And on top of that, 8 members of parliament have also resigned. Now, for the parliament, you need a much more than 7 people to resign. You need you need at least half of the parliament. You need half of the parliament plus one, so basically the majority,
Mm-hmm.
to resign so that the parliament can also dissolve.
Mm-hmm.
So that's around 65 members of parliament.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I
And
feel
guess
like
who has the
who?
Hezbollah and their allies?
So there's no taking them down, basically.
Not exactly, because 20% of the parliament by itself is controlled by the Awniyeh and their allies with Hezbollah. And Hezbollah and Harakat Amal, who are both the majority Shiite groups, are also have a large quantity of members of parliament in parliament.
Okay. So right now, the people in Beirut right now? Okay, they took down parliament. Parliament's gone. Where's the anger directed now?
No, parliament's not gone. It's sorry, ministry, the prime minister and his cabinet of ministers.
I see. Okay, so now they're going after the parliament. What's the next step
They
here?
want the parliament. They want the parliament, yes, to dissolve so that they can hold early parliamentary elections.
I see. And so they're just that's what they're up to. That's what they're up to right now in downtown, right? They're just like starting.
One of the demands, yes, that's one of the demands.
Mm-hmm. What
among
else?
others.
What else?
Proper investigation of the accident of the explosion.
The accident
proper-
of the explosion. Mm-hmm.
From external factors, if we want this to happen, we want this to happen not from the Lebanese government.
Mm-hmm. Independent
From
investigation.
independent investigation.
I heard the FBI is joining in on the case, so
I mean, 100, dude. It's like, yeah, minimum, right? It's like, what if this exists anywhere else? What if we don't know who caused this? Also,
yeah.
we still don't know what happened.
Look, to be honest, I don't really trust the FBI because they have their sights pinned on one political party in the whole country. So I don't think they're a neutral base.
Mm-hmm.
They're not a neutral type of agency right now in Lebanon to be working on the investigation.
What do you mean? Like, who are they?
They're
What do you
after
mean they're
Hezbollah,
biased?
man.
They're against Hezbollah, you mean?
Yeah, because who does the U.S. consider a
Sure.
terrorist?
So you think, okay, so you think that they're just gonna like pin it on them?
Pin it
Or
to
something like
them,
that?
and yeah. And it might not be them. So
There's a chance it might not be them, but at the same time, I'd rather have a neutral agency dealing with this, not the FBI.
yep.
Because
True.
I'd rather not have the U.S. on my land right now. I mean, they're not. They make themselves they make themselves seem like they're this heroic,
Freedom.
friendly
We're gonna
country.
bring freedom side to Lebanon and democracy.
Yeah, they send in a few rockets, some boots on the boots on the ground. We're here to help you. Send you some $1 billion, and then they'll meddle with the politics and then mess up your country. I mean, look what
Mhm,
happened to Libya. And the U.S. got involved there. That didn't work out very well.
mhm.
I think we reached the time limit, boys.
Shabab,
Honestly, I think
well, yeah.
I'm just gonna end this episode by saying من قلبي سلام
من
لبيروت
قلبي
and
سلام لبيروت. Saeed, good to
peace.
see you. Power to
It's
you. I
good
know
to
you're
see you.
busy with all the stuff you're doing. Thanks for coming
Yeah,
on.
and thank you so much for helping, bring back Beirut
Mhm.
and cleaning the streets and everything. And yeah, we are proud, like the A2 family is proud to have you and proud to know that you are a part of this whole situation. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Saeed.
Thank you
What
for having
can
I
what can people watch and do? Right, donate still to.
Now, what I would say is like, of course, you can still donate as well.
We lost them. Donate,
we lost him.
spread
Just
awareness,
yeah,
help
donate,
people
spread
build their
awareness.
houses. People need, like to fix their
Yeah,
houses. Please help
yeah, it
these
is.
people out.
Help around,
Yes,
donate as much as
we'll
you
link
can.
different
We'll put
Can
a
you guys hear
fundraisers
me?
bunch.
below. Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
You
sorry.
lagged out a little. Don't worry
Hmm.
about it.
Yeah. So what I was saying is like people can still donate as well, but on top of that is get educated about the background of what's happened in Lebanon before you want to bring awareness or talk about it as an external like source, like people from abroad who want to talk about what's going on in Lebanon. Educate yourselves before
Lagged
about
again.
the background of Lebanon because you can't just talk about what's happening now without knowing what happened before. Because there's so much stuff that crosses into each other from about all this, like everything that goes on in Lebanon. It does not. It's not because of one small event. It's a buildup of things. And
Learn from the past mistakes so that you may not do them again. Basically.
exactly, that's that's one way of putting it.
All right. Uh, peace, love, happiness. I wish you all the best and peace.
See you, Saeed.